GM everyone, and thank you so much for joining us on the Decod3rs channel. This show is really special because we have Simon and Ricki from the MonkeDAO, and like just by saying that, it's gonna be a good, like a prestige one. It's gonna be nice. We're gonna talk about like the SMB acquisition, like the upgrade art, etc., and like how MonkeDAO works. And I can see like a couple of like a monkey in the chat already. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you're gonna enjoy the stream. But before that, let me just recap like what we are doing on this channel and what the project Decod3rs is all about. So basically, we are adding Web3 layers to the creator economy. And this channel is the proof of concept of our main thesis. So we want to align the financial incentive of the content creators with their own community. And to do that, we are like taking this channel for every video that we are going to produce on the channel. We are going to mint the thumbnail, raffle them, and if you win it, you will get entitled to the revenue generated from that specific video and also a portion of the channel globally. So by doing that, you will participate in the growth of the channel and get rewarded for it. That's all I need to tell you about Decod3rs for now. Just subscribe to the channel because I think we will get to 600 subscribers, so that's cool. And it's going to be also a mandatory step for the upcoming collection mint that we're going to push like a early Q2. So yeah, just watch our videos. You will get some reward from that. And now it's time like to welcome like Simon and Ricki and start the podcast and talk about the MonkeDAO. What's up, guys?
Good.
Hello, how are you doing?
How's it going, Vans?
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation, man. Like Simon, like we know each other like since almost like 2 years, like less than that, but one and a half years. But Ricki, man, like your reputation precedes you, man. Like really happy to have you.
Oh, I'm happy to be here, Vince, and I wish I could have met you at some point in the past. I'm sure we'll get to run into each other at NFT NYC or something in the future, but this is a blast.
This is happening in NFT NYC for sure.
Streams, so, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. But with what we just said in the pre-show together, we're gonna have an episode 2. We're gonna have an episode 3. So yeah, get ready for that. And thank you for JPEG Joey. He's the number 600. Thank you so much for that.
Nice job, Joey. We love Joey.
Yeah, he's a man. So guys, let's start with like your own introduction. Like, how did you reject humanity basically and embrace like the MonkeDAO? Simon, do you want to start?
Sure thing. Yeah. So I'll start with my MonkeDAO journey. I minted my SMBs back in August of 2021 now. And then I was just an active part of the community, really enjoyed Solana, and became a board member in January of 2022, worked on the board with everyone there for about a year. And then during the governance change, which we will probably get into later this show, became an appointed executive working under our new CEO, Nam.
Nice. And you're killing it since then, right? Like,
of course.
You want a big guy there.
Hell yeah. Simon's really selling himself short.
Yeah,
he's got many more credentials to his name. He's too modest for all that.
Yeah, that's why he's Super Simon.
He is Super Simon, yeah. But Simon's also like a geophysicist. He won't say that. He's also responsible for onboarding all the new monkeys that come in into the DAO. He's like forever been the person who's like the very first person you meet when you jump into the Discord, and he's, like we were saying before, responsible for organizing all of the different channels. It's just, it would be mayhem in the MonkeDAO if not for Simon. So people jump in, they're always like, I just am amazed by how organized it is in there. That's all Simon, and he deserves all.
You're too kind. You're too kind, Ricki.
I am accurate. This is all understatement.
I should have asked you to do the Ricki to do the introduction of Simon and Simon to the introduction to Ricki.
That's good. Yeah, no, I think
well, he could
if you'd done
his,
that, Simon would have had some unkind things to say about me.
Yeah. So yeah, like Ricki, like tell me more about you, man, because like I haven't met you like before this show, but like again, your reputation, man. Like when I tweeted the first time, like I don't know if you saw the tweet from Drax, but he said like, "Bro, you have Ricki? Nice."
Yeah, no, that's just Drax being a good friend. We ran into each other and ended up like surviving the night at NFT NYC last year during the Magic Eden yacht party. But yeah, he and I hung out. So I love Drax. He's a man. But to introduce myself, I'm Ricki. I am a former, thanks very much. I'm a former board member of the MonkeDAO. I served for 2 terms. I also, like Simon, minted SMBs back in August 2021, and when I was in the DAO, I think like week 1, maybe not day 1, but basically as early as I knew about it. And then just with this recent governance change, which we will talk about, I decided, we need real business people. We need a streamlined, lean team in the executive structure. And so I wasn't going to run for that, but instead I joined the official MonkeDAO collection team, which is a lean team of 4 people, 4 monkeys that are working on the official MonkeDAO collection, which is what we're here to talk about today.
Yes, man. So you are the true OG of like the monkey collection. That's cool.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the other reason I decided I didn't want to run for the board is because it's a lot of work. Like these guys, Simon and Nam and Nano and Andy and Florida Man and Maurice and all of them, J5G, they're all putting in like 40 hours a week, if not, I bet many more hours into the MonkeDAO. So like for people who have full-time careers outside of being in Discord all day, that's just like, it's just too much. So there's another reason I decided to step down, because I'm still working my my full-time job as an attorney. So I work in an international law firm doing all Web3 and crypto clients.
Cool. Nice. I guess you're busy too, man.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to work after this. That's why I said I got a hard stop.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we're gonna like respect the 1 hour mark for sure, guaranteed. And yeah, and by the way, that could be interesting to have a show just about like crypto and NFT regulation. That could be a good one.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about there. That would be another multi-part series, I think. It's just too much.
Okay, so looks like we have like Q1 content lineup.
It sounds like I need to start my own show, is what you're saying.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah, watch out.
But that's great. So yeah, basically you see everything that happened from day 1 to today, and like 1,000 days now. And yeah, that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because again, like I told you, like I have friends who want to join like your community, like our community, because I'm also like a SMB holder. So yeah, that's which I got like for on the Dusty's auction, and it's nice, like nice shades and like a rainbow, like it's so nice. I have
Wait,
a nice
hang
monkey.
on, you got your SMB from a dust auction? You lucky duck. Wow, that's dope. Congrats. Yeah. It's a nice one too. It's not even like a floor monkey. That is.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, and I will never sell it. Like it is like history. I want to stay in the Discord. Like I will never leave you guys. I can't even buy more.
You can't sell. I'll send you a takedown notice if you try to sell the SMB.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, guys. So okay. Just like first question for like people who are not in the DAO right now, like why someone should invest in the MonkeDAO as of today?
Man, that is a broad question, and I think I could go like 18 different directions with this. But the bottom line is the MonkeDAO is the community DAO for the Solana Monkey Business Project. We are the community of SMB holders. And SMB, for people who don't know, is the Solana Monkey Business Project, minted in August of 2021. It was one of the first successful PFP collections on Solana. I think it was like top, one of the first 3, certainly the only one anyone remembers. Because it just, those monkeys, they're timeless. They're so nostalgic. They have that nice, like charming, smile that just draws you in. They're so readable as PFPs. They really are good art. But more than that, they've got this phenomenal community that's built behind them. So, let me give you a little bit of a history lesson here. I apologize for the detour. But basically, after the SMB project minted in August 2021, you know, the devs didn't really have much in the way of plans for what they were going to do with the collection. Of course, you know, this is early days Solana, so like there wasn't that expectation that they should have, you know, like a roadmap or whatever. But I think there were some community members who pretty quickly realized, you know, that if we don't make something of this project, it's not going to go anywhere. And so those are now names that like you see throughout Solana. I mean, they're just like institutions in the ecosystem. People like Nam and Jemmy Jam, who created the MonkeDAO, which at the time was a new concept. I mean, now everybody's got a DAO, but at the time it was the first NFT gated DAO on Solana, which was a big fucking deal. So, you know, it started off just being like a degen minting channel where we were talking about all the projects that were, you know, releasing every day. And then, you know, some monkeys got together and decided, let's like make a go at this. And I remember, you know, when we first had like the first round of elections, it was crazy. The level of talent and professionals with like real careers and real expertise that were coming out of the woodwork to run for board positions. We had, you know, people who had literally done securities law. We had people who had been professional marketers. We had, you know, people who were working for real Web3 companies. And we put together this like phenomenal board of 16 monkeys with a governance structure. You know, we had, you know, we had on-chain voting for our board members. And we were the first to do all of that. So there's this, to answer your question, there's this like provenance that comes with being a part of the MonkeDAO. You're actually becoming part of Solana history. And for people who believe that Solana is, you know, the future for NFTs, for crypto as a blockchain, that's important. You know, that's you know, giving yourself a piece of that history. So that's point one. Point two is there are actually a lot of like really, you know, strong, I'm not going to say financial reasons, but there are a lot of really strong like personal benefit reasons to join the MonkeDAO. You know, we've got this new collection coming up, which we think is going to be a knockout. We're gonna have these excellent new monkeys that our holders right now, SMB Gen 2 holders, are going to have priority to acquire. We haven't said what kind of priority that's going to be yet. But if you want to have a piece of that new collection, your best bet right now is to join and get an SMB Gen 2. The other thing is we've got, you know, just phenomenal alpha networking opportunities. Everybody, you know, in the early days of Solana, everybody who wanted to make an NFT project or was just bullish on the chain and had the skills to go out there and found a project, they started in the MonkeDAO, right? Because that was the DAO at the time. So we created this like hub of project founders, artists, developers, you know, managers, just everybody who now makes up the ecosystem. You know, a lot of that was kind of started in the MonkeDAO. It was like this like nucleation point for everything that the Solana NFT ecosystem became. And that remains to this day, right? So if you want to be, you know, a project founder and you want to make connections with, you know, good collab managers or good devs or artists, you can come to the MonkeDAO. It's a great place to meet all those people in person and on Discord, because we've got, you know, phenomenal IRL events as well. That's kind of what we're known for. So I know that's long-winded. Like I said, I could go on for hours about the value that you get from being in the MonkeDAO, and that's just two pieces of it.
Yeah, so like basically, if you spend the soul on it, you will probably not regret it like at all, like for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever met, you know, I cannot count the number of people who have told me like they recoup the cost of buying their monkeys within a couple of weeks, even of being in the DAO. You know, obviously that's like stuff that happened during the bull market, but that's also when like SMB prices were a lot more, let's say, inaccessible than they are today. So I believe that there's a ton of value, and I've only seen first-hand accounts of it time and time again.
Oh, 100%. And you know, like for me, like because of my monkey, I met Simon in Vancouver for real, which and even like a couple of other like valuable member of the community, and that was a great moment, man.
Listen, meeting Simon just once is already worth the price of admission.
No,
and I don't know if you've ever received a hug from Nam, but I would happily pay 250 Sol for one of those any day of the week.
I don't think I had that chance, but not yet.
Okay, sounds like you're going to Malta, Nam. You're going all the way there.
Yeah. Stay in the DAO long enough, you'll get one of those Nam hugs.
Oh, okay. Let's go. I mean, like, yeah, I entered like a couple of months ago. Let's go. But it's definitely happening in NFT NYC. Like, I will have like to join the monkey party for sure, man.
Yeah, you'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll try out one of my HUDs too.
Yes, like having like some like those shades like together. Oh, that's you. Yes.
All right, what else you got? What else do we want to talk about while we're here?
Bro, I have a list. You know have a list.
I know.
But so yeah. Like even like for again like just last aspect of it, last question about like the people who are not part of the community, and then we got deeper like going deeper into like what happened in the last 2 weeks with like the Solana Monkey SMB acquisition from HadesDAO. But like yeah, what are like the intrinsic difference between like the SMB and the MonkeDAO by itself, right? Because it's completely two different things in a way.
Yeah, it's an important distinction to make, and it, you know, I kind of hinted at this already, but the Solana Monkey Business SMB project is the name of the NFT project. The MonkeDAO is the name of the community DAO, and they're separate. At the beginning, that was almost by design. You know, there are a lot of reasons why you might want to separate your community out from the SMB project, because you know it starts to be less about, you know, the efforts of the SMB team that are pumping the floor prices of the NFTs and more about just the demand. And I think some of those reasons still exist today. You know, there might be reasons that we don't necessarily want to be connected to the SMB team, but over time, you know, that kind of held us back. I think, you know, what would happen was, because these NFTs, these profile pictures were so recognizable and really became like the face of Solana, there were so many entities reaching out to us, like real legitimate companies, not just Web 2 companies, but like Web 1 movie studios even, that would reach out to us. And like we were handicapped, like we weren't able to do anything because we didn't own the IP, or like maybe we were able to do something, but we just like weren't sure, because the, you know, the IP of the original SMBs is at least ostensibly licensed to the people who hold them. But honestly, the SMB team was so amateurish that I don't think knew what they were doing when it came to like licensing or IP issues. So like it was just very unclear what we were able to do with the NFT art for the SMB collection. And you know, so that distinction has kind of hampered our growth and development over the past year and a half or so. You know, that and the fact that we don't get royalties from the sales of SMBs. So despite being, you know, the community that infuses these things with value, I mean, the reason that you see SMBs all over Twitter and Discord is because the MonkeDAO gives them basically our, you know, our stamp of approval, our like imprimatur is the word, but it's not the SMB team. But we don't get paid for that. I mean, we don't receive any of the financial benefit from that. There's no like alignment of incentives for us to continue doing that work based, you know, for a collection that we don't own. So that's also hampered us, and that, you know, that hard line between the SMB collection and the MonkeDAO community has existed for the better part of, you know, a year and a half. So that answers your question, what's the difference between SMB and MonkeDAO? Now, going forward, the reason that we're doing this official MonkeDAO collection is because we want to take that difference away. We want the MonkeDAO to also be an NFT project, to also have control of a collection of NFTs, to own all the IP for it, to be able to license it out as we see fit, and to receive, you know, some financial incentive for causing those NFTs to you know, be traded on secondary marketplaces.
But how does that plays out with now HadesDAO in the pictures? Like,
yeah, so HadesDAO being in the picture does complicate things, I'm not going to lie. So it's, you know, it's in my ideal world, and I haven't been shy about saying this. The other thing I want to mention here is, like, I'm speaking as an individual monkey right now. Like, Simon is here on behalf of the executive team, and I'm sure, you know, he'll cut in if I'm saying something I shouldn't be, but like, I can't speak on behalf of the executive team because that's not my position. I'm speaking on behalf of a DAO member who's been in the DAO since very early days, and I obviously have like a vested interest in the well-being of the community and the MonkeDAO. But like, my ideal world, the SMB community would own the SMB brand. That's how I think it should have gone down. Like the MonkeDAO should own the SMB IP. Then we could control, what happens with the PFPs that we love to use, the artwork that went into these, and we would have our incentives aligned with the continuing sale and promotion of those NFTs. It's unfortunate that didn't work out, but I think there's a lot of benefit to the way it did work out. We announced that we were doing this official MonkeDAO collection like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
it was before it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Before February. The very first question that came up was like, well, what's going to happen to Gen 2 SMBs? And like we were able to tell people, we're not going to touch the Gen 2 SMBs. Like nothing that we're doing here changes the fact that Gen 2 SMBs are the ones right now that have governance votes and that are, the premium NFT in the MonkeDAO ecosystem. But like people were still worried that like if we allow more people into the DAO, give them access to our alpha, our networking opportunities, our in real life events, all of that stuff, that it would devalue the SMB Gen 2s. And I continue. I mean, even if the Hades thing happened, I don't believe that kind of devaluation was gonna be as bad as people thought it was, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But regardless of all that, now all these SMB Gen 2 holders have access to this entirely new ecosystem, right? The Hades DAO, the ABC Hades token ecosystem that they didn't have before, and the Hades team has committed to providing a lot of resources for SMB Gen 2 holders. They keep saying they're going to give us, they're going to give holders of SMB Gen 2s more development resources. They cleaned up the Discord, which is already a little step in the right direction. So, as an SMB Gen 2 holder, there's never been more potential value on the table.
Okay.
Now, on the other hand, I still think that SMB Gen 2 holders, or SMB Gen 2s, are always going to be viewed as the OG collection. I mean, they're always the ones that are going to be, thought of as like the original Solana PFP, right? There's that provenance history, that legacy. It's always going to exist there.
Yeah.
And nothing changes that.
Yeah, like 100%, like you will always be like, part of the history, and no matter what happened tomorrow, like the past is behind us and it's like set in stone, right? So forever the first.
It's literally inscribed in the blockchain. It's not going anywhere. Like it's immutable
exactly.
at this point. Yeah.
And like, is HadesDAO like getting some royalties? Like if we are like revenue from SMB, like how does that works?
Yeah,
exactly.
So my understanding is that they've gifted, that basically HGE bought the collection, gifted it to the Hades DAO, and then the royalties from the SMB collection, to the extent that they are enforced, and of course right now they're not, will go to Hades DAO. Now, we've asked them, and I don't know, Simon may know more about this than I do, but I've asked publicly if they're going to be sending any proportion of those royalties back to MonkeDAO, since, as I've been saying, and I think most people agree, MonkeDAO is the reason that SMBs are so valuable today. 100%. And we haven't received an answer yet, so I'm really hoping that they do the right thing and respect the people who have put in all the work to make SMBs.
100%. Simon, do you have any answer for Ricki interrogations?
I mean, as far as I know, we're not getting any of the royalties. And I think I know what is happening to the royalties. I just want to confirm with someone that information is public before I say it.
Okay. Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about this, I remember there was a piece of their announcement that said that they're going to use the royalties to buy Hades token and burn it.
Perfect.
So
yeah, that's it.
That's kind of disappointing, actually, because it seems like there was a real opportunity there to align incentives. They have this valuable asset, and there's a community of people that continue to give that asset value, and they missed an opportunity to incentivize that community, us, to continue providing value for their asset. So that's a bummer. I think sort of a lapse in brain activity there, but it's okay. We have been building for a reality where we weren't going to get royalties for a long time. I mean, you remember when the crisis happened and Magic Eden went to 0% royalties.
Yes.
To us,
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
like, it was water off a duck's
Yeah.
back. It's like we've been doing this literally since September 2021. We've been working based on volunteer labor without any meaningful royalties. And we've got some like really promising plans in place to generate revenue long term that doesn't rely on royalties. Instead, it relies on leveraging the phenomenal community that we have here.
And like, so then same question for the income streams, like what happening for the, is that like defined yet, or it's still in discussion of like all this business
talking
revenue?
about this. So we're calling it temporarily, we're calling it the user as a service model. I kind of hate that name and nobody really likes it. So we're workshopping some new names. If you have any ideas, by all means, send them our way.
Okay.
But the idea is, since we have this community, it's been around since like early days of Solana. I mean, we've all seen a lot of shit. Like, we've seen the projects that did well, we've seen projects that didn't do well. We've interacted with DeFi, like we've played around with NFTFi a little bit. Everybody in the MonkeDAO is like your most experienced degens, Web3 people, Web3 citizens that you can find. And we've discovered that like companies that are making new products in Web3 really want access to people like our community, people like the people in our community who are experienced, who know what works, and are willing to try their products. So we're calling it a user as a service model, but basically what it is as these different products come online, we reach out to them, or sometimes they reach out to us, and we build a package for them, right? We'll do a series of user tests where we incentivize our monkeys to go in, try out their product, tweet about it, right? Fill out a survey, provide their feedback. We'll work on tweaks with them, right? Maybe we'll do Twitter Spaces with them publicly so they can reach a larger audience. Maybe we'll do some Discord announcements where we announce that we're officially working with these tools. And we've managed to do this successfully with a couple of different projects, kind of test runs. So the first one that we did was unpaid. It was with a company called Subber. Everybody knows Subber now. Yep. It's in every single Discord that you can think of. It's like the default for whitelist protocol standards because it works so well. And the reason it works so well is because we did intense testing, user feedback surveys, and we were just funneling monkeys through their whitelisting tool and working out all the kinks. I remember early days, people were so frustrated with figuring out how to set up a Subber, but now everybody uses it like it's second nature. And that's in large part due to Undi, who's in the chat. I know she can't actually hear me right now, but she's in the chat, and she was like a huge valuable resource for like feedback and user testing for her. There's Undi. And so like we kind of tested it out there. Like we showed how monkeys are valuable users who can test products, identify the flaws, provide feedback. We did that one for free. Then the next one we did was paid, which was with a company called BetDex. BetDex is a betting platform built on Solana. It's fully licensed. And when I say fully licensed, I mean like legit licensed, not like the Curacao licenses that you see for projects like DualBots or whatever, right? Like this is a legit betting project. And it's built by the same founders of a product called FanDuel, which is a Web 2 betting product that's very successful. Okay. I mean, it's like a household name in the States. So we worked with them. We did a paid partnership where we funneled our members into their, into their betting platform. Members who are not in the US or certain other states were able to get free betting credit to try out their product. And we incentivized them using tools that we built in-house for the MonkeDAO. And then, of course, we did some Twitter Spaces with them and some promotion as well. And that worked. I mean, so once we were able to figure out how that model, could scale, we've now signed deals with a product called Rebase, which is doing geolocation-based airdrops and events. We've partnered with Sandbar, which is Soul Bucket's new project. So everybody's heard of that one. That one's kind of top of everybody's mint radar list. And so the pipeline is rolling now. And so these are just examples of partnerships that are going to bring us revenue long term that don't rely on royalties, which is I mean, that's the gold standard right there. Nobody else is doing that on our level yet. So there's one last point I want to make here. Because Buckets is a legend. I agree with that, Sneaky. So there's one last point I want to make here, and that's this is actually part of the reason that we're doing this new official MonkeDAO collection, right? Because what we found was the one thing holding us back from really unleashing this user as a service product was that we only have, like 1,600 people in the DAO. And that's because it's a 5,000 piece collection, and a lot of people own more than one. It's just that's not enough people to get that like critical mass of volume on Twitter or in Discord or even like user testing. Like, you just need more people. And so part of the reason we want to expand the family by coming out with our own MonkeDAO collection is to expand the voice that we have on social media and expand the family, the number of people that we're able to offer to these services that come to us asking for a user as a service model.
And that's cool. And like, honestly, like the execution of like the DAO, it's like no one is doing what you're doing. Like, you're probably like the first and only efficient DAO on the Solana ecosystem per se, like, and not just a fucking Discord like server, like a real functioning DAO.
Yeah, right? We do our best. I mean, it's tricky. I mean, it's so tricky because like you want to be decentralized and like you want to live up to that first principle of what a DAO is, but on the other hand, it's like so messy to like get everybody in the and like every single time we have a proposal, it's like a knockdown civil war in the Discord. It's just like, I think it's fun. It's like it's a blast for me, but it definitely looks like a mess to try and make DAO proposals go forward. And so you have to kind of like strike the right balance between delegating to, a handful of people who have authority to make decisions, like we've done with this new executive board and like we're doing with the OMC team, and like soliciting feedback from the community and making sure that everybody feels like their voice is heard. It takes a lot of time. So it's part of the reason that we kind of move slowly, but when we move, we do it well, we do it right. I like to say we're not the first people to the party, but we are always the best dressed.
Yeah, that's cool. That's nicely said. And what if MonkeDAO was not a DAO, but was just like Monkey with a team that was like executing in a one direction, like in the team direction, and then like make that exactly what you described, like as like less messy, or at least trying to, and like push. I don't know. I don't want to say like faster, but like it could be like that's what we see in the model in Web2, right? Like you have a startup that have a team that push the product, etc., and then you can execute on like the vision of the founder, but not the vision of like thousands of people who like from one monkey to another monkey. Like the vision is kind of like completely different. Like it's day and night. Like what's your take on that?
Well, I think it's, again, it's just about these trade-offs, right? Like it's so hard to be able to move fast when we have so many people. And that's part of the reason that we did this governance change recently. But like the great part about a DAO, the great part about being decentralized is if any member of, we don't have like demigod figures. We don't have like people who are kind of the figureheads of the, of the DAO. If any member of the DAO wants to kind of step away and focus on their real life or focus on something else, then they have that opportunity to do so, and like the whole thing doesn't crumble. Like imagine if Frank DeGods decided he was gonna, step down from DeGods, the whole project would fall apart. Like we have Nam, sure, we have Nam, but we've also got like this phenomenal team of personalities, 8 personalities who are supporting every single piece that needs the DAO to run, right? And that makes a big difference. That gives us longevity and durability over the long term. So, that said, we were running on a completely different model like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. It used to be the case that we had 16 undifferentiated board members, right? And those 16 board members didn't really have like specific roles or like lanes that they were working in. And that made it, accountability was really difficult because we didn't know what people were working on. There was no way to like hold them accountable if they weren't working on it. And so we realized we needed to be more streamlined and efficient. And so we, just before the new elections happened, we dropped this governance proposal to cut the number of leaders in half, to make sure each of the 8 people who are leading have a hold up, my system has just run out of memory. This is crazy.
I could pick it up from there if you want to focus on that, Ricki.
I got it. Yeah. We're good. We're back.
Okay.
So I want to point of view after that, Simon.
No, I do want to hear what Simon's got to say, because his take is we often disagree. I want to make sure people understand SMB is not MonkeDAO is not a monolith. Like Simon and I were having an argument just right before getting onto this.
Yeah.
The point is
a discussion, okay? It's just a discussion.
Yeah. Are you okay, guys? Should we go to a couple therapy or like a DAO therapy?
No, Ricki is like a brother to me. I could never stay mad at him.
Oh,
that's cute. That's so cute.
Simon is like my best friend in Web3, so I absolutely would go to the ends of the earth for this guy. Now I've lost what I was saying because I'm all choked up. What was I saying? So 16
governance. We're talking about the exciting
governance
conversation of governance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I loved governance, but it was like a challenge. So we slimmed down the board. We made sure that everybody who was on the new executive team has definable goals and like measurable outcomes that they're shooting for. And then, the other reason we're doing this is we wanted to make it a bit more like a startup, like what you had described earlier, so that when we get this revenue that we're anticipating, both from the mint of the new collection and from our user as a service model, like we can actually start to pay these people and make sure that they're not sacrificing their personal lives and careers to be able to do, the DAO work that we appreciate them all for.
That makes sense. And you professionalize, like, professionalizing in terms of like, make a living out of your second job, basically.
That's exactly what's. I mean, someone like Super Simon, if he spent even an hour less doing what he does, I think it actually would be an issue for the MonkeDAO. We need him committing his full efforts and resources to the DAO.
Let's pay the team so Simon can sleep.
I also want to talk a little bit about how we want to form teams. So I think the collection team, the OMC team that we formed, is a pretty good demonstration of what we want to see from other DAO members as well. Like there's 5 people on the OMC team, the collections team, but only 2 of them are on the executive board. And we don't even really have to be. We could have just been 5 community members that came together with an idea. And this idea could generate some revenue for the DAO. We put it into the proposal structure. We marketed it. We put it up for a vote. We got the community vote for it, and they supported it. And now we're executing on that idea. If anybody else in the DAO has an idea and just wants to get DAO funding and DAO support, they're free to do that as well. You don't have to have a special position within the DAO to kind of bring ideas forward and execute on them.
Okay, so like if I have 15 monkey, I don't have like a louder voice than if I have only one?
Well, actually, it's funny you should go there, because another part of the governance proposal that we passed was that we do need to transition to on-chain voting, which means that for every SMB you hold, you get a vote. And we previously have only done that once before, and it was about another issue that I won't get into. But we have actually executed on-chain voting for DAO wide, like 8 or 9 months ago. For members of the board has always had on-chain voting, so we've kind of delegated that to them. But in the future, people who hold a greater proportion of the collection, will have a greater say. That said, there's no requirement to be able to bring a proposal, and even short of that, there's no requirement to hold a certain number of SMBs to be able to just execute on what you want to do in the DAO. So like, I remember it was like November or December 2021 when I was like, listen, I keep hearing about like how CryptoPunks get like whitelists to all these projects, and like, how come we don't have any whitelists? Like, how come I still have to like fight to mint these projects? And this is like pre-whitelist meta. This is literally when being on the whitelist just meant that you got the mint link 10 seconds before everybody else did. So I just started reaching out to projects, and on my own as an individual member, I didn't have any authority to do so. I was just like, hey, I'm part of the MonkeDAO. This is the SMB group. You want to like give us any OG spots for your project? And people were so happy to do so. Like nobody was doing that back then, but like everybody was just waiting to be asked, Like all you had to do was go and reach out and say, hey, you know, love what you're doing with this project. We'd love to get the monkeys in. And then, you know, it was like the best feeling in the world when like an army of monkeys would flood into their Discord, and people would be like so psyched out because that was the only blue chip at the time. So it was just like, that was the ultimate, you know, seal of approval for a new project. And, you know, from there, it just developed into this. We had like an alpha team. We were the first people doing alpha hunting, and we were tracking all of our profits and losses for all of these projects. And, you know, we organized it into a specific channel with a consistent format. And that was all before, you know, I joined the board. It was just Super Simon and another monkey, Arpy, and Nam, who like kind of let me run with it. So it just illustrates the point that like you don't have to be in a leadership role or an executive or anything to just kind of make the DAO what you want to be, what you want it to be.
No, that's pretty cool, because like again, it's a unique execution on like that you have, and like I don't know if people copied us and failed, but like you are the one that like perfectly running it that way, and that's pretty impressive to see like unfold in like the Discord and community in general. And like in terms of governance, like is there a play about with like a monkey token?
Yeah, I think there is a play. That's all I'll tell you. There's something going on. We haven't been shy about that either. Like monkey token is coming. It's been coming. It's something that that I think is gonna have some really interesting implications. But I can't say more than that.
Okay. So I'm not going to ask you the question more than that. That's okay.
I mean, you can ask. We'll see.
I just wanted to see if Simon gonna react a little bit, if like the PFP is going to animate. Simon, do you want to say something? Your community is here in the chat, right? Like people are really active. Like I can feel from where I am in Malta that they want to know.
Yeah, I think Star Munch, you know, Hammer, Undy, JPEG, Joey.
Yes,
you all know
exactly.
what we're gonna say when we say when token, and say when it's ready.
Yeah, ready. Which is it's the best answer you can give to people, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah, and so when art upgrade then?
When art upgrade?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I want to correct. We're not doing an art upgrade. This is going to be a completely separate collection.
Okay, my bad.
The fact that it sounds or looks like an art upgrade is actually good, because it means that we're kind of carrying over a lot of the visual cues and the aesthetics from the original collection. And I think that's important. We want the new collection to kind of feel like a cohesive whole with the Gen 2 SMBs. But it's going to be a new collection. You know, everybody who owns an SMB Gen 2 continues to hold that SMB Gen 2. I mean, I think there's a lot of love, and there's a lot of love wrapped up in the SMB Gen 2s. So for me, you know, it's going to take a lot to make me stop using my SMB PFP, because I just love it so much. And that's okay. So we're not doing, you know, a traditional art upgrade.
Okay, and like, how did you manage like the art feedback from crypto Twitter in the execution of this PFP transition, like Joey said?
Yeah, it's a great question. So like we've been saying, everything that we've been doing with this new collection has been aimed at soliciting community feedback, but it's a tough balancing act, because we also want to avoid, you know, design by committee. You know what I mean by like design by committee? You know, it just gets to be too much when there are like 18 different people in a Discord saying what the art should look like, especially for something as subjective as art. So that's why we approached it the way that we did, where we came to the DAO with some pre-designed art, and then solicited feedback in these like surveys. I don't know if you filled out the survey, but basically we showed them the art, and then we put out these surveys so people could provide, you know, what they liked or didn't like about the art. The feedback was overwhelmingly positive. It was like 87% of people said that they loved the art. But a lot of people had things that they wanted to change, and you know, I found a lot of those comments quite sympathetic. I really, you know, we spent hours upon hours reading every single word that people put into that feedback form, and we took it really seriously. So what you've already seen is Tom TWX, our designer, has put out some phenomenal art update, like blog posts, sharing how he's been interpreting the art feedback, how he's adjusting the art to look different ways. And he's already, one of the pieces of feedback we got was that people felt like the color palette didn't really quote pop. I don't really know what the word pop means, but I think TWX, being a designer, took that and like interpreted it, and then he made it pop. I really don't even know what he did, but he turned around these new color palettes that just pop. I mean, he showed some of these off at the town hall last Friday, and you're going to see some new thank you, Andy. You're going to see some new pictures come out that compare the old color palette to the new color palette, and you can see the difference. I mean, it's just a really appreciable difference. We also got some feedback on the eyes, right? Some people didn't like the default eyes, which were just sort of, square, or like brown rectangles. We thought that paid an homage to the original SMB art eyes, which are also just kind of square pixels. But people wanted to see a bit more definition in those eyes. So if you look at the official MonkeDAO collection Twitter page right now, we're running a poll to see how people like, an alternative design for those eyes. While I'm on that point, I should mention there is an official MonkeDAO collection Twitter account, and it's just _monkeys. Which, like, how about that for a Twitter handle? It's
nice,
baller. So check that out. Make sure you're following that, because that's where we're going to be posting things. Nice.
I will add it to the description of the replay, like, and even like the card. I can do that. I can do that for you. That's good. That's cool. And okay, so with like with what you said, like during these hours of like stream, like, do you think, like, it made me think like the DAO organization can work? You are like literally like the proof of it. Can we imagine it like taking that kind of organization like in real life, like at the scale of a company, a big company, like not like the startup of like at the Web3 scale, but like a Fortune 500 company that can be a DAO, or even a country? Do you think there is a world with that that exists?
I don't mean to be too lofty, but that's always been the dream. Like, one of my favorite, most inspirational voices in the DAO is a guy named Sai Mori. I don't know if you've ever met him. He tends to be kind of quiet, but he was on the board since the very first epoch. And he views it like DAOs are going to be the nation states of tomorrow. Like, you think of a country, you think of even a religion. It's like it's a group of people whose interests are all aligned, pulling in one direction, and who have citizenship in the DAO. And that was his vision when he first joined the board in October 2021. And I remember having conversations with him. He's also a lawyer, and he's also the one who handled our incorporation. People call it a legal wrapper, but it's basically the legal entity that the DAO exists within. And that's the goal. I mean, we want to be a household name. We want to be an institution that exists outside of Solana, outside of crypto. Like, people will see these monkeys and it'll mean something beyond Web3. I think that's the idea. And there's another part of the reason that we need to do this expansion right now. Because like I said, a lot of projects run into this problem where it's just they're limited by the number of NFTs in their collection. And with only 16 or 1,800 unique holders and 5,000, actually 4,998 holders or NFTs, it's just we're constrained by how loud we can be, how far our message and mission can spread. Monkeys take over the world. Conan James said it best.
Yes, let me highlight the comment because I highlight important ones. And like, okay, so what would be like the size of where you can make enough noise on Twitter then?
Oh, so that's you're asking me to leak. Yeah, it's a good question, and people want to know what the size of the new collection is going to be. It's going to be bigger than 5,000. That's all I can say at this point.
Okay.
It'll be bigger than 5,000, but
I think we can say between 10 to 15K.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's even more precise. Okay.
I think that's pretty fair too,
okay.
because you have a lot of other collections on Solana and Ethereum, and like the base is usually 10K. There's some other collections that are 15K. And right now there's something happening where 25,000 tokens are leaving the Solana ecosystem. So there's definitely a bit of a void there that we want to fill. And there's a lot of community members on Solana that want to stay on Solana, and we want to provide a home for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
that's true.
Do you see a future for Monkey that will be spread like multi-chain to make like some noise everywhere?
If the DAO decides to do so, we will execute on what the DAO wants to do.
I love this answer.
I'm going to be cheeky because I feel like you've been so welcoming as a host that I just want to like give you a little bit of a teaser. Like, obviously, anything that happens, we are going to be sticking to this principle of being a DAO. Nothing is going to change that. And when you're in a DAO, big changes like going cross-chain have to go by a community vote. That's not going anywhere. But I can tell you that when we were in the very early days of working on the official MonkeDAO collection, we were talking to a lot of really big name artists, to potentially work on something for the new collection that would have been cross-chain. That's all I'll say on that. But to give you a little hint, that artist, that collection that I'm talking about is a big deal. And if you look really closely, you can still see the monkey inspiration in that project. Maybe one day I'll be able to share the full story, but that's all I can say right now.
Okay, that's cool. Like, so now we can send like the monkeys like tracking the artists that have like some monkey inside his art. That's cool.
You could do that. But I will never be able to reveal what the truth is.
We can wait because again, you make like the execution of the MonkeDAO like so pristine that we just need to wait, see what happened, and enjoy the ride, right?
Enjoy the ride.
Exactly. I think we can like start to slowly wrap up the show. Simon, do you have like anything to add, like to enlighten with your knowledge, with like everything, any points that we have like discussed before that with Ricki? Okay, drop some bombs.
I was hoping that you would poke and prod a bit more to try and get us to leak a little bit as to like what's next step for the collection. The next steps for the community to be involved is that we're going to be dropping the next proposal to confirm all the details for the collection, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that will have a full, I think, 5 days of community members to be able to vote on that. And so that will include things like mint price, how the allow list tokens are distributed. It will also probably leak a lot of information about how exactly we want to sustainably grow the community. I have always been, we all have been explaining exactly how the value comes from the Gen 2 NFT is the community. And we've preserved this community for about 1.5 years now. And we really don't want to explode it in a way that, you lose some of that culture and you flood the chats with people that don't really understand how the conversations happen. So we have some unique, fairly unique solutions to this to help with sustainably growing the community. Ricki is seeing if I'm going to leak a little bit more than that, but Ricki, you can go ahead.
Yeah, Simon actually did. If you were listening closely, Simon did leak some things that we haven't announced yet. Use the word, I won't repeat it, but there are things that he just said that we haven't actually said we're going to do yet. So most likely we will be doing those things. But yeah, there's a lot of details that need to be worked out. Part of the reason why we've taken so long in getting to this point is because we wanted to see how other projects have done it successfully. Right? Because they're projects, high profile projects that have blundered the details like mint mechanics, and it's kind of colored their success. and capped the ability to succeed. So we want to avoid those pitfalls, and we've thought very carefully about all of that. You're going to see the full details, just like everything in the DAO, through a proposal.
Yeah. Nice. So like clearly the future is bright, and like it was said in the comments, we are basically teasing the new ATH, and that's nice. That's what people want to see. That's cool. I have like 2 questions for you, like to conclude the show. And thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. It was really a nice show. Like I love. We need to do episode 2, 3, 15. That's gonna be nice. Like we have so much other stuff to discuss, guys. I hope you enjoyed it too. Okay, so like the first question will be like, what's the question you wish people would ask you but they never do?
God, I love that question. So here's what I love talking about, and I love when TWX gets to talk about this because he explains it so well. But TWX is our artist, right? And he comes from a design background, and I think one of the things that is so interesting, I didn't even appreciate until he explained it, was like the difference between like a PFP artist and a designer, and that is that designers like TWX work within constraints, right? Like they have these different, he calls them North Stars. Like, you use a North Star to navigate. So he has these different North Stars that he has to try and navigate between when he's designing this art. So for example, like we want the art to be friendly and playful. So that's like one point. We want the art to be like nostalgic. So that's like another point. We want it to reference the original SMB art. So that's another point, but without being too close to the original SMB art, because we don't want to be accused of stealing that art, and because there's some there's some ambiguity with regards to the original art. Some people say it looks too much like Yoshi's Island characters. So in addition, so we want to respect the legacy, we want to keep that playfulness, that friendly character, we want to make it pixel art. So there are all these different constraints, right, that TWX has to work between. And for a challenge like that, you really do want a designer to be working on the project, because designers do this stuff all the time. I mean, that's literally their jobs. A client comes to them and says, I want something that is good for my brand and that is poppy but isn't too childish. It's all these constraints. It's the same process. And TWX is a professional. I mean, he's so experienced with doing this kind of thing that when it came to finally designing this collection, which is so sensitive, I mean, there's so many different factors at play, I think he knocked it out of the park. I mean, I think he really killed it. You look at these new monkeys, they're in a slightly higher resolution, but they're still pixel art, so you still get the same feeling, right? They've got that coy smile, that little hook on on the corner of their mouth that's just so characteristic, that just tells you, like, this is a friendly person. Everything that this person is saying is just imbued with this sense of playfulness and welcoming, inclusive nature. And then he's got all these new traits that feel like they could have been part of the original collection, but but they weren't. And so now he's managed to make this new official MonkeDAO collection feel so much like a part of the same family, that when you see them in Twitter together, you'll know, like, this is the MonkeDAO. Like, that is their presence, their force is felt in Twitter Spaces and on Discord. People love taking screenshots of their of our town halls, because it feels cohesive. It feels like we are forced to be reckoned with. And TWX has just nailed it. He's preserved all of those features in the new art. Obviously, there are going to be some tweaks, but I feel like we don't get enough. We don't have enough time typically to talk about those different lodestars that he has to navigate between, and like the challenge of coming up with a follow-up to the SMB collection.
That's great, man. Like, it sounds like a great guest for a show, man. Yeah,
that's true. We should have TWX on. He would do a great job. I don't know if he's doxed.
Also,
but he would certainly have a lot to say.
He can rock his like a PFP like Simon right now. That's no problem for that. And that was basically my next question. Like I usually ask people like to like who should be the next guest, and you basically answer it. So it's perfect. But what about you, Simon? Like which question you wish people would ask you but they never do?
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I'd like to talk about the art a little bit too, but I think Ricki covered most of that. What question do they want to ask? I mean, I get a lot of questions, so I think
I can imagine. Yeah.
when mint, when whitelist. I mean, I think probably some of my what other collections do I look to for inspiration? On both Sol and on ETH, and I think I've been a big proponent and listener and fan of Kevin Rose, and I know Ricki is as well. We both kind of got into Web3 through his Modern Finance podcast early. I think that was over 2 years ago now. And so I followed him through the space and seeing what he does with his experience in Web2 and what he brings to Web3. And I'm also following everything that they do with the Proof Collective and the Moonbirds and the Oddities. I definitely keep a really close eye on that community. I am part of that community, so I'm able to see it from the inside. And I think it's really good to kind of break outside of your own bubble sometimes. And in Web3, we definitely really create a lot of bubbles for ourselves. So I always try and just jump into a different community that I don't really have a connection with, and try to learn what I can from them and see what they're doing and seeing what they're testing and trying out, because this space moves so fast. Yeah. If you don't push yourself outside of your own comfort zone, you're not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. Yeah, and that role models in a way are kind of important even for NFT founders, right? And to see what the markets, where the market is moving and how you can execute on it, in timely manner, I guess, but and also the long-term vision of it. That's definitely interesting. But yeah, thank you guys. I think we can wrap it up here, right? It was a great show. I hope you had as much pleasure as to be here than me hosting it. That was pretty cool. Do you have anything to say, just to any last words, basically?
Simon, do you want the honors or shall I do it?
Thank you for having us. Reject humanity, return to monkey.
Pleasure.
Reject humanity, return to monkey.
Okay, so we can definitely close on that note 100%. That makes sense. Thank you so much for everyone in the chat. I really hope the vibe from the MonkeDAO. That's why it's a great community too, right? Each members understand the vision, participating in a nicer way. It's perfect. You guys have built something really incredible. And thank you, Simon. Thank you, Ricki, for accepting the invitation and be here for this hour. You can find all of the link in the description, Twitter, and Twitter account. I'm pretty sure you're already following them, but still, the links are here. Thank you so much for everyone who watching this stream. Subscribe to the channel, because again, it's the best thing you can do right now for the Decod3rs project. And as Ricki mentioned it already, we will have multiple episodes, because we can stop with just one. It's just the introduction. So just be there for the next one. And thank you so much. And we will see you in the next video. Bye, Simon. Bye, Ricki. Thank you so much.